This is the Nakto F2. It is a moped style, mini bike style, Super 73 style, fat tire, full suspension, e-bike. And it costs around
$10.99
with coupon code TRUTHER60. So you might be wondering how this Nakto F2 is so inexpensive other than going with a small-time YouTuber for advertising. Let's look at the tires. 20 by 4-inch fat tires. However, the threading is not quite as thick as Super 73. Some money is definitely saved here with mechanical brakes. Granted, they are Shimano. On the flip side, the rotors, they're not 160, they're 180 millimeters wide. So that means that you'll have more braking power even with conventional mechanical brakes. Front, rear plastic fenders, extremely bright LED front headlamp. Yes, these are LEDs in there. The suspension is made by Trauma, is non-adjustable. Moving to the handlebars, comfortable palm grip, horn, light, power assist levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bit difficult to see, but this is a color display. On this side, Shimano shifter, Wuxing thumb throttle, and palm rest. These brake levers are no name brand. Moving on to the heart of this system, you have a 48 volt, 16 amp hour, 768 watt hour battery. The key is only needed to remove the battery. It's not needed to use to operate. At the rear is this large but firm seat. It's around 2 feet long. It'll easily accommodate 2 riders. On the rear has a Shimano turning derailleur and a 500 watt motor which peaks at 750 watts. I believe this is a gas-filled shock system, and there is a dual rear suspension system. These are metal pedals, and this is an extremely beefy kickstand. And over here, there's a little surprise. Look at how long that bolt is. So you'll be able to fit a rear peg on this for sure. On the rear, there's a mount for a rear reflector or light. And Nakto, why didn't you add a light with this? That would have been so simple. This part I don't really understand. Why is this zip tied here when this cable looks like it could fit inside of this little tube?
The Nakto F2 can accommodate riders from 4'10" to 5'9", and for taller riders, the Chads of the world, you may not have full extension, however it should be comfortable. Because of the 400-pound capacity and additional added pegs, you can comfortably seat an added passenger. Just be careful of the limit when loading your mother-in-law. Going back a bit, Nakto as a brand has been around for 7+ years, so that means that they kind of have a grasp on how to deal with e-bikes. Granted, support isn't going to be on the level of first-class companies like Rad Power or Electric. However, you can get free assembly. You can get parts from them. It's a good idea to do your due diligence with these e-bike companies, so check out the Nakto website for more details. Up next, we're going to go over the riding impressions of the Nakto F2. How is this going to fare with the full suspension? Let's find out.
Right off the bat, I'd say the Nakto F2 is incredibly smooth. It still makes noise because the fat tires and whatnot, but this ride is just so buttery smooth. So I'm confident it can handle high speeds, and let's test out the suspension right now. This part gives other bikes a lot of issues right here. It's just too bumpy. And you could hear it in my voice. There was no brake because it was just so smooth. It went over that, you know, like butter. Okay, here's a turn, and I'm going to test out the brakes right now because 180 millimeters, right? Wow, nice and quiet. I wasn't expecting that. Usually, you know, it's going to have some noise. That's just the way it is with e-bikes. Make sure I'm going on past the highest one. I'm not gonna go fast right here. There's people. But this little place right here, let's go fast. Downwards, here we go. Whoa. Right. So I'm concerned that because these brakes, they don't have any adjustments. I mean, the shocks. Am I gonna bottom out? So far I haven't, because everything's been easy enough. Let's take this hill, see how it handles. Actually, I'm gonna cut through the grass right here and right on this. Okay, up and over. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nice, nice. Hasn't bottomed out yet. Let's cut across the grass right here. Oh, I forgot, over here it's usually big piles of mud, and these things have mud guards, so I just wasn't paying attention. Okay, off-road, not an issue at all. These tree roots, I am just not feeling it at all. This thing is like, it's like floating. It's fantastic. Okay. All right, here it's just plain grass, and it cuts through it like butter. I mean, do I even need pavement? But I'm gonna get back on it right now. Okay, that was a big piece of root, and I did feel it bottom out. Okay, so it can bottom out, and just like your bank account, once the pandemic was over and there was no more paychecks. All right. Yeah, so the tires are a bit noisy. Other than that, the ride is incredibly good. All right, let's do a top speed test right now. We're on pedal assist level 5, so power level 5. Okay, let's see how fast it goes. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right. 18. 19, 20, so around 20 miles an hour. So in the stock form, it goes 20 miles an hour, but that's its stock form. Keep in mind, this is one of these smart menus, and if you can see right here, I am on pedal assist 9, which can get you past that 20 mile per hour barrier. All right, now we're gonna take a look at pedal assist and how fast each power level goes. This is on power level 1. Goes to 10. Power level 2 goes to 12. Power level 3 goes to 14. Power level 4 goes to 15.5. Power level 5 goes to 24.1. That's what it says, at least. I do want to note that if you're going to be pedaling, I would avoid gear 1. You see how close that is to the rear tire? And that is just too close for my comfort. This is on gear 2. Gear 1, you're like almost touching that tire. Gear 6 also has a tendency to jump. You see that angle right there? It's because of that. And it wasn't the high-low adjustment that fixed it. I did have to change that chain tightening screw at the bottom. I wish it was more of a seamless experience. However, I did have to modify the derailleur. For the record, I did put on this upgraded rear peg. And to do this, you have to remove the axle nuts. And because you're removing the axle nut, there is a very good chance that you throw the shifting mechanism and you throw the braking mechanism completely out of line. So just keep in mind that if you're going to do all of that, you better know how to loosen the brakes right here. You better know how to adjust these derailleur, because you're going to need to do that if you put on pegs. Alright, so is this 500 watt motor enough for this to get up this 15% grade? Let's find out. The official hill grade throttle only test. And I'll tell you, there's a secret menu in here, and I believe you can boost the power more, but we're just trying it in a stock form right now. We're at 14, already slowing down. Not looking so fresh, but will it make it? we'll know really soon, because at this point, you know, the motor's either gonna give out or it's just gonna keep on trucking along. And amazingly enough, it's still trucking along. I would think that it would give up by now, but no, it may, yeah. Is it gonna make it? I don't know. This is the really steep part right here. Wow. Not fast, but it's going to make it. Almost there, almost there. All right, we're at the final stretch. And we have made it. I guess I shouldn't be so surprised, because the Nakto Folding Ox was able to make that hill, and it has the 500 watt motor as well. I was just surprised because this controller feels a lot different, and it is a completely different system despite having the same motor. I mean, there's a different controller. Oh, right, I got a pedal just to see how fast I can go. And the pedaling is an issue, yes, it's known. However, I'm just going at power level 3 just to see if I can make it and how fast I'm going. And at 11, so a little bit slower, 10. So this is a little bit slower than what I was getting from the Super 73. I'm at 9 now. All right. So about 9 miles an hour up the hill pedaling, and I'm staying seated. All right, here we are at the top.
Up next.
All right, it is time for the brake test. This Nakto F2 has 180 millimeter brakes. Sure, it doesn't have hydraulics, but for my testing so far, it feels strong. Let's just see the official testing, how fast it brakes. 20 miles an hour. That was pretty good. I'll walk the rest of the way so I don't scare people. Okay, we are braking downhill and gaining speed super fast. Yeah, the brake is really good downhill. It's not as snappy as you would get from a hydraulics, but definitely no problem braking. Yeah, this thing gains fast and it stops fast.
Next up, we have a look at the size of the Nakto F2. It is a heavier e-bike in that it's 80 pounds. So getting it onto your minivan or onto your truck, it's a bit more challenging than a typical Super 73 or e-bike. 80 pounds is a little bit heavy. And on top of that, the handlebars, because of the shock system, are a little higher. The Nakto F2 might require some angling just to get it inside because of the added clearance that's needed. Next up, we're going to talk about the range. The Nakto F2 comes with a 48 volt, 16 amp hour, 768 watt hour battery. That is a huge capacity. And with this battery comes a UL listed charger. Yes, it's UL listed. So that means it's going to be safer than a normal charger. You're not going to have to worry about fires. You're not going to have to worry about overheating. However, that is for the charger only. The battery itself, it doesn't have any markings to display to tell me if these cells are UL listed or not. Granted, the charger being UL listed is better than nothing. This range test is basically worst case scenario. It's including all of my tests, the hill test, the brake test, the acceleration, throttling, and riding on and off-road and in the grass. If this was a thin tire e-bike, I would expect around 26 to 28 miles. However, this is a fat tire e-bike and it's carrying a lot of weight. It's 80 pounds, and I was able to get around 23 miles of range. And the range, there is something that is unexpected that happens. At 23 miles, the system went completely off. It wasn't able to turn on. There's no extra contingency plan. The menu flashed a little bit to inform you that, okay, it's running low and it's going to turn off soon. And when it turned off, I didn't expect that there would be absolutely no energy left. And I had to pedal for a few miles just to get back home. So that's just something that keep in mind to be aware of when riding the Nakto F2. Final thoughts, the Nakto F2 is an incredible value for a Super 73 style e-bike coming in at around $1,000 with coupon code TRUTHER60. However, it's not without flaws. The suspension system is made for comfort rather than truly off-roading. It would have been nice if there was a rear light for night riders. The 6-speed shifter has some clearance issues and can definitely use some work. That said, this bike is a fat tire e-bike. It's not particularly good at pedaling. And the battery capacity, this definitely could have used more. Instead of using 16 amp hours, maybe 20 amp hours. The full suspension system means that the bike weighs more than typical e-bikes. Other than that, the speed is ample, and in a future video, I'll show you how to make it go even faster. The artificial limit is likely due to Nakto trying to comply with Class 2 standards. The budget braking system works quite well because it's mated to 180mm rotors. Combine that with the power, the Nakto F2 is a powerful e-bike that is good for hills. It's good with passenger, and it's an overall joy to use. The fully generic suspension system, the plastic looking stiff seat. These perform better than they look, providing comfort, stability, and traction. For $10.99. Do you think there's something better on the market? Let me know in the comments below. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Take care.